What's up, y'all? Anderson Emerald here, back for another video to talk about the 60-meter dash. And today I'm going to go through a couple different results from the 60 meters, the most high-profile results, of course. We're going to talk about Kishane, Shericka, Tia Clayton, Noah Lyles, Lachie, in Australia. But I'm also going to talk about a couple other things as well. So I'm going to talk about, of course, what results actually occurred in the 60 meters for a couple of these athletes. I also want to talk about the why behind these results. So why does this result matter for the athletes specifically, for track and field as a whole, or just, for them as we look forward to the 2025 season. I also do want to talk about why the outdoor 60-meter dash seems to be a lot more notable over the past couple weeks for whatever reason. And then I also want to talk a bit about the problem, I guess, for World Athletics, or at least for fans, and how World Athletics has kind of grouped the outdoor 60 and the indoor 60 together. But we'll get to that. So first off, let's talk about, of course, Kishane Thompson, the man of the hour, the man of the year. Kishane Thompson opened up his 2025 season running 6.48 seconds in Jamaica into a negative 2.1. Check out the video that I did on that already if you haven't. But for this weekend, he was out in Asia, competed in Kazakhstan at the Astana Meet World Indoor Tour. He managed to run 6.56 seconds in the final to get the win here. This is a really strong performance coming off what he did last weekend in Jamaica. And there was also semifinals as well as finals here. So in the semifinals, you'll see Kishane, round one, he ran 6.58. And then he followed that up in the finals, ran 6.56. Now, in the race, if you take a look at it, you could see that, he kind of falls, looks like he, a little awkward fall, might be a little injured. Hopefully he's healthy. Hopefully he's good. But the 6.56, I don't know. Some people were like, oh, that was a little too slow. Some people were like, oh, kind of expected it. In my video last weekend where I spoke about Kishane after that 6.48, I did say that showed me that he could possibly run 6.4, but I also noted that he could also still run 6.5 or 6.6. Neither of those would surprise me. Why? The biggest context that I personally think around what he did, his performances here, are one, when he was in Jamaica running that 6.48, he was at home. He was able to just kind of wake up, go to a local meet, right? No travel, no nothing like that, just going to a local meet right in Kingston. So very, very comfortable situation for him. But less than a week later, he's out in Asia, so he has to travel all the way out to Asia. He's never gone to Asia before. He's never competed there. Literally, he's only competed in Europe. So now he has to travel all the way out to Asia. He has to adjust to the time zones, adjust to, however long he's there, adjust to food, adjust to certain aspects there. On top of that, he's competing indoors for the first time. So not only competing, but then also preparing, also warming up. All those aspects are going to be slightly different. And then finally, he's running semifinals and finals. So these are going to present some different, factors that weren't introduced when he ran that 6.48. So 6.56 to me, after a 6.58, very, very good performances for Kishane Thompson. Again, I just hope that he's healthy. I hope that he's not injured. And if he's, dealing with a little bit because of that fall, then Kishane, take the rest of the indoor season off, get healthy, get ready for the outdoor season, and we'll see you back, in whatever it is, May, June, or whenever you want to start the season. Kishane Thompson, he still right now is my favorite for the gold medal when talking about the 100-meter dash, just because of the talent, just because of what he's shown so far in, at the top of the year. I think he's still the favorite, all my personal favorite. I mean, Noah Lyles on paper is the favorite considering what he's done, but I think Kishane is probably in the driver's seat for the time being, but we'll see. I did like this performance from Kishane. Now, on top of that, we did also see Tia Clayton. Tia Clayton was also out there in Kazakhstan with Kishane as well as the MVP crew, and Tia Clayton, she was able to drop a pretty strong performance of 7.18 seconds in the 60-meter dash to get the win there. I'm gonna be honest, she kind of cooked the field. I ain't gonna lie, Tia Clayton kind of cooked the field here, right? You have 7.34, 7.36 from Tina Clayton, her sister, who's kind of gonna be coming back, this year after not doing as well last year. But Tia Clayton really showing her prowess, where last year she made the Olympic final in the 100, the only Jamaican to do it, and she managed to run 10.8 on 2 occasions through the season, right? At the Jamaican National Championships, at trials, and then also she ran it on the circuit, I think at the Poland Diamond League, where she actually got the win over a very strong field. So Tia Clayton showing her chops. She's only going to be, she's turning 21 years old this year, so she's only 20 as of right now throughout the most of the year. year, she is going to be a huge talent. And that actually came off of her running 7.22 in the heats here. And these two performances, these give her what her equal third and fourth best performances of all time. So she's run 7.18 and 7.22. The first two performances from Tia Clayton, she's run 7.14 early in the year into that headwind down in Jamaica just a week prior. And then also she ran 7.18 last year. So I think I'll talk about this a little bit later, but I don't want to read too much into it. But what this specifically tells me is that she is going to have hopefully a very successful 2025 season. And I don't think that she's going to lose a step as we go throughout the year. It would not surprise me for her to start to run 10.9s a lot more consistently, drop maybe another 2 or 3 10.8s. And if she dipped her toes, if she dropped a 10.79, that would not surprise me. Not saying that she's definitely going to be running 10.7s, but if she had either a one-off 10.79 or something like that, that would not surprise me in the least bit. Tia Clayton has shown that she has the talent, and she is, along with a whole bunch of other, Jamaican women, between Tina Clayton, between Brianna Listen, right? You have Brianna Williams, you have Naisha Berger, Crystal Soley. So many women are kind of the next generation of Jamaican sprinting. Tia Clayton is right in that conversation. But talking about the next generation, let's talk about that previous generation where Shericka Jackson, she also opened up her 2025 season. This time she was out in Jamaica. So she was staying local. She didn't travel with MVP all the way out to Asia in Kazakhstan. We know that Shericka is coming off 2024 where she dealt with injuries all throughout the season, specifically pulled out of the Paris Olympic Games in the 100 and then of course in the 200 as well. Now, she opened up her season down in Jamaica. She dropped a 7.18 time as well. And this was run into a headwind of negative 0.4. So for the most part, I think pretty strong performance, right? Shericka Jackson, in terms of her 60-meter dash, that's like pretty on par with what she's done in the past. Her personal best is 7.04 seconds, which she ran in 2022 at the World Indoor Championships. But that 7.18 that she just ran in Jamaica, that brings her to her equal number 5 performance all time. So nothing too spectacular, but the why behind this. Why does this matter? Well, this tells me that Shericka is at least seems to be healthy. Now, whether or not she's 100% healthy, we'll probably never know until she actually gets back to the times that she does have. And unfortunately, it's a little tricky because of what, how 2024 transpired. Many people were saying like, she's healthy, she's ready, she's going to dominate. But clearly she was dealing with injuries throughout the year that, just weren't revealed until she had to pull out of Paris. So who knows, in terms of her health, but I do think this is a positive indicator for what we should expect as we go out throughout 2025. She actually only finished second place to Joanne Williams, who ran 7.15 seconds. Joanne, this is a pretty strong performance for her. She's actually a year older than Shericka Jackson, but Shericka finishing second to Joanne Williams, I think a good start to her 2025 season. And again, I think this is a positive indicator. I don't know if she's going to get back to her 10.6 and her 21.4. Who knows? But if this is any indication, I think we should expect a 10.8s, probably 10.7s once again, as long as her health continues to progress, progressively get better and better. And when we get towards June, July, et cetera, et cetera. So huge shout outs to Shericka Jackson. You also saw Crystal Soley. She kind of finished down there. Again, one of the newer generation talents that's rising in Jamaica. She's only, 22 years old coming up now. So going to be really exciting to see how she does throughout the year. Now, let's move over to another guy. We have Lachie Kennedy from Australia. He really threw down, I don't know, a surprising mark. I don't know if it's surprising, but, many people, including myself, did not have him on our radars. Lachie Kennedy, 6.43 seconds down in Australia with a positive 1.6 meter per second tailwind. Again, we're going to talk about outdoor versus indoor in a few, but this is a really strong performance from somebody who essentially is not a known name, not notable in the least bit. Check out my man, Coach Rob. He, of course, did a really in-depth video on Lachie, and this performance here. So we're going to see, kind of how he progresses throughout the 2025 season. Now, he does have a personal best of 10.20 seconds in the 100, which he actually ran last year in 2024. And on top of that, he ran a windy 10.15. But in terms of 60-meter dash, I mean, he has only run it once ever before. So they don't have that 6.43 here yet. But he ran 6.55 just about a week ago or so, a week and a half ago. But This is all we have to go off of. So what does this tell me? So two things this kind of does tell me about what this means in the long term. One, I think we should expect him to make some significant progress going forward in 2025. Does that mean he's going to run sub 10? I don't know about all that. I think that, he'll probably get to 10 O's. That might be a realistic prediction for what he's capable of. He's only still, I think he's turning 22 years old at the end of this year. So he's going to be 21 throughout the entire season. Very young, still rising, still developing. Really exciting to see someone drop a time like this, but I think that he'll probably get into the 10 lows, right? 10-0, maybe 10-1, again this year. Hopefully that'll be exciting to see. The other thing that it does kind of tell me is maybe some of these athletes like a Lachie, maybe, a Gout, some other athletes are kind of feeding off of the excitement that's going on not only in Australia, but then also in Oceania as a whole, in that region, where you'll see one athlete put down a really strong performance that might entice you and that might motivate you to say, hey, maybe I am capable of, something better. Or maybe, I got to make sure I'm stepping things up or else this kid is going to, keep pushing or keep running past me or whatever it may be. That may be, resulting in someone like Lachie throwing down a performance here when just a week and a half ago he was running 6.55. So who knows, but really exciting to see him throw down a mark like this. Other one I did want to talk about, Noah Lyles. So Noah Lyles opened up a season, nothing too crazy. He did run 6.62 down in Florida. He's going to be running, of course, at the New Balance Indoor Grand Prix next weekend. I'm not going to be there, but Sidious Mag is going to have a crew up there, so be sure to tune in because we got some coverage coming. But 6.62 ahead of Caleb Dean, Udodi Onwuzurike, Jaden Slade. Shout out to Jaden Slade. Shout out to Dejan Clark as well. But Jaden Slade, this is his first race, I think, in 3 years or so. Jaden Slade is one of the high school prodigies. But Noah, 6.62. He also ran that in the heats as well. There was a prelims where he ran the exact same time, 6.62. Great performance from Noah Lyles. The thing that stands out to me from Noah and this performance of 6.62 is that he's ahead of pace from what he did last year. Not significantly. You could say he's like equal pace. Let's say that. Last year at this exact same, essentially the same meet, he actually ran 6.63 seconds in the 60-meter dash. And that was before he went to the New Balance Indoor Grand Prix where he ran 6.4 in the 60-meter dash. So 6.63 in the heats of that race last year, he ran 6.70. So that's why I said he's maybe a little bit ahead of pace in terms of maybe the consistency. This year, he's run 6.62 on 2 occasions, prelims and finals. Last year, he ran 6.70 in the prelims and then 6.63 in the finals. So I don't know. We'll see what this kind of means. I don't think Noah Lyles is going to be doing a full indoor season going, all throughout World Indoors because of, the very long season. But I don't know. Noah Lyles definitely on pace. Like I said, on paper, he's the 100-meter favorite going into World Championships, defending champion. He's a defending Olympic champion. He has all the cards right now, but my opinion, I do think that Kishane is probably the more talented one, and I'm picking him for gold as of right now, as of, January 25th, 2025. We'll see how the season progresses. Now, a couple other things I wanted to highlight for today. Why do people care so much about the outdoor 60? And then also the problem with World Athletics and the 60 meters. I just find it interesting that, we saw Kishane Thompson, we're seeing Shericka Jackson, we saw Lachie down in Australia, a couple other people running these outdoor 60-meter dash races, and to me, it seems like the track and field world is paying a lot more attention to it. I don't know exactly why, but I do have some theories as to why. Where one, Kishane Thompson, I think, is a big catalyst for this, where I think his talent and, the performances that he put down last year in 2024 really, brought this level of excitement that people haven't seen in a while. And I think because he opened up with a 60-meter dash at the top of the year, that kind of reinvigorated people's interest in not only Kishane Thompson, but then also this outdoor 60, which was followed by Shericka Jackson, as well as, Lachie Kennedy down in Australia. So I think that's one aspect of it, the almost like Kishane bringing that attention to it. The other thing I think is that coming off an Olympic year, there is a level of excitement that people do have for, of course, the sprints as a whole, but the 100-meter dash in general. So just the short sprints, 100, translating to the 60-meter dash where a couple people are running it. So between a Noah Lyles, between a Kishane Thompson, Shericka Jackson, et cetera, people kind of have their eye out on these people who are running. And it just so happens that we're seeing Kishane, Shericka running in a 60. So now when you see someone like Lachie Kennedy go out and run a 60-meter dash, in 6.43, regardless of the wind and regardless if it like quote unquote counts or anything like that, that is going to bring out a lot more interest. It's interesting because it was either last year or 2023 when Akeem Blake and Oblique Seville, they both ran 6.42 seconds outdoors. Yeah, it was 2023 where they both ran that outdoors. And that's like, you're talking about all-time marks in the 60-meter dash, but nobody cared, right? Nobody cared. Of course, World Athletics changed things to like short track and whatever, but listen, nobody cared. Barely anybody cared. Jamaican track, yeah, we were of course shouting things out, but nobody really cared. The other thing kind of folds right into it. The problem with World Athletics and the 60-meter dash. So because World Athletics did kind of shift things where now the 60-meter dash indoors is on the same list as the 60-meter dash outdoors. It's all just one 60-meter dash because they changed things to short track. It's creating this dynamic where A, maybe we have to pay attention to these outdoor 60s a little bit more, but now B, we're kind of convoluting things a little bit when talking about the 60. So Kishane Thompson had the world lead in the 60-meter dash at 6.48, but it was outdoors with, a headwind at that point, but we saw some guys run 6.5, so indoors. Is that a little bit better? Then we see Lachie down in Australia. He runs 6.43 with a tailwind. Is that the world lead? Or, are a couple other guys who've run, somebody ran from USC, they ran 6.50 this weekend. It's like, it's a little tricky to kind of parse out and determine what is a correct 60-meter dash. Even previously, I noted where Akeem Blake, quote unquote, has the Jamaican national record in the 60-meter dash with 6.42. But then I was like, Asafa Powell actually does with his 6.44 because that was indoors. I don't even know what it means. And it's creating maybe some confusion to a degree where either A, people are like, we don't care about the outdoor 60, or B, people are maybe diluting the actual strong performances in the indoor 60-meter dash a little bit. One thing that's going to be interesting is when one day, and it's going to happen, one day somebody's going to run a 6.30 outdoors, legal, with legal wind, and it's going to be the world record. And I don't know what World Athletics is going to do. Are you going to call it a world best, or are you going to call it the world record? I don't know, but it's obviously not an even playing field. So just an interesting discussion to kind of have where I think it's a little bit of a problem. I think that the 60 indoors and the 60 outdoors should be separated, specifically when talking about World Athletics actually tracking these performances and recognizing these performances. It's not a world lead. I mean, it could be outdoors, but just say outdoors, right? Leave it outdoors, then let's have the indoors so we can not convolute and kind of, muddy the waters when it comes to, these guys are running 6.50, but somebody ran 6.43 with a little bit of wind. Like, is it actually, let's not do that. But this is a pretty long one, but let me know what you think about the 60-meter dash performances that we saw. I'm going to talk about the NCAA in a second video. Dude, stay tuned for that. Let me know what you think about the 60s. Let me know what you think about why people care about the outdoor 60-meter dash. And then also, do you agree with me about these 60 meters outdoors and indoors as it relates to World Athletics and them tracking both on the same list? Let me know what you think. Be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel. Be back again next time. Thanks for watching, y'all.